Hi everybody, today we're going to talk about transformations of functions. Transformations of functions are all about moving different functions kind of up and down, right and left, and all over. So we want to start by talking about the library of functions, which I have other videos about if you need to review them. It'll be important for you to know these shapes and a few basic properties in order for us to do transformations. So let me quickly run through the different ones we're going to do. So we'll look at f of x is x squared. We will look at the square root of x. We will look at absolute value, x cubed, and the cube root of x. So what happens when we're doing transformations of functions is that we will see that the shape of our function stays the same, basically. But then the functions will move around on the xy plane. There are basically four types of transformations we'll do. So vertical means it's going to move up or down. Horizontal means it's going to move right or left. Reflection means it could flip over the x-axis or the y-axis, and then stretching or shrinking is where I do see the shape change a little, this is where we make the graph kind of bigger or smaller, and I will show you that in detail. The best way to show that is to go over to Desmos and just demonstrate it a little before we look at the math behind it. So we're going to start with x squared, looks kind of like a u, and I want to show you some transformations. So let's start here. Watch how this is moving up, and then it's going to come back down. And what happens is the shape stays the same. It didn't do anything different, it just moved up and down on the graph. So let's take that back to the origin and look what happens if I move to the right or the left. Again, the shape didn't change, I just moved the positions. I kind of think about it like moving furniture. If I move my couch across my living room, the shape stays the same, I just changed the position of where it's placed. I could move both at the same time. That's kind of fun, and you can see it kind of bounce around, which shows you this kind of looks like a video game. Again, I put it back on 0, and let me show you something different. So I'm going to show you that this is facing up, but when I make it negative, it faces down. Now, a couple things are happening here when I'm doing this change. See how this time it kind of widens out, or it stretches up? So this is what we call stretching and shrinking. So stretching goes up and shrinking goes down. There's too much. And then reflection, I flip it over. So you can see that change. Now we can do all of these changes to different graphs. I'm going to click off that x squared and maybe change to the square root. So let me take everything back to normal. And again, here's the up and down. Here's the right and left. And this one, I will be able to see a big difference if I flip it over. So here it flips under. And then if I want to show it flip the other way, I'm going to put a negative inside for you so you can see it flip over. And again, we'll go into detail with that later, but I want you to see that there could be flipping around the y-axis. There's a flip. And then I can flip around the x-axis. There's a flip. And we could keep going, right? I could keep switching the different kinds of functions I have, and I can hit the different kinds of transformations to show you it can do all kinds of things. But that's what we want to cover in this section, is what happens when I change these different pieces of the function, what happens to the graph.